Okay.
And even on that 30%, I've still got some change left. So
Now
now what I'm saying, what I'm doing, I'm setting up my children. Okay, my children don't know this, but I've opened accounts for them.
they are watching it. We're streamlined.
I've done nothing for my children. Okay, but I've got an appreciation and value for money. You know, when they always say you will not black man by the money that you put in their hand, they were referring to me. Because when I started to make millions, I thought I arrived, and those millions were nothing. I thought I was rich. I want to be wealthy.
And there's a difference. Okay. Wealth is generational.
Yeah, I don't have one stream of income. I'm on 4 streams of income. 4.
Okay.
So I'm working on 5.
Yeah, that was the first question. So you were doing very, very well. I mean, I
never bought a car by debt. I bought a car cash.
Yeah.
You know, all the cars I had, I bought them cash.
Yeah.
Now I don't believe in the value of a car, because a house that's worth 2 million, they'll ask you to pay it for 30 years. A house that's worth 2 million, they'll ask you to pay it for 5 years.
A car, yeah.
A car.
Okay.
You know, so I believe in the value of property now. That's another subject for another day.
The second quick question. Let's not elaborate much on this one. When I grew up, there were no drugs, and maybe I was blind or what.
No, you were blind.
But when I was young,
I was just like him.
But where is this stuff coming from now? I mean, it's so.
Yeah, when we grew up, there were no drugs that we knew about, because it was not rampant and available. Okay, and it was not the wealth that we were introduced to.
Yeah. Where do they come from? Where?
Let me tell you, I'll never fight drug addicts, because they'll always be there. I'll fight for information for kids to know. Okay, so
let's have Pastor Soga one. Let's take all 4 of them. Can you take all 4?
Yes.
Okay. Let's pass Pastor Soga. Let's have the second hand was there, and then the third hand was here, and then the fourth hand was there. Yeah.
I am so grateful for a platform like this. I am so grateful for this presentation. But I am struggling with few things, but I would ask 1 or 2. One, sithi thina ibandla lika Kristu kwangathi i-platform right to address lama social concerns esinawo. You highlighted some of them. My worry is, by observation, kwangathi when you say I am now out, abaningi bethu sisese lapho. Now, how do we deal with these things in a parallel way? Because one, ngicela ukusebenzisa igama eli-wrong, kungcolile ngaphakathi, sikhavare ngomkhuleko, sikhavare nge-praise and worship, kufeyila. But again, parallel to that, sithi kwabanye wozani na indawo engcono. And unfortunately, mabafika kule ndawo engcono siba exposed but asiyafana. So how do you suggest we can handle lezi zinto eziyi-2 simultaneously without leaving enye emuva? Because when we do that, they always catch up with us. Ngicela ukuma lapho for now.
Thank you. Let's take that second one. Please say your name.
Nginibingelele ekhaya igama uJani siyabonga wakaChibi. I'm a recovering drug addict. 3 years ago, and I met a man so powerful, so strong in speech and in statement and in anointing. Ubaba Sol Mahlangu. Ngaphuma rehab nami, mina bengwathenga ngama kilograms. Hayi kuSineman, I went direct to the supplier. Now today it is my mission to destroy and annihilate them. Ngivuli NPO. By the name of the Holy Abide in my future, I stand to defend the faith of the addicts laba sesibapha amagama sithi abunyawupe. Ngizela ekhaya ngibone izolo ku Facebook your advert ukhuluma from this side. Ngachazwa igama elithi man if first, other than that akhohlwa bese ngikhohliwe ngesonto bese ngizitshela ukuthi hayi ngiwakha center yami, build it from scratch ngoba hayi la emasontweni ngathi bakhuluma manga bathi basiza abafowethu mara hey ama subjects. So ngibonga uNkulunkulu ukuthi truly I am established in his word, because I was no longer after imali icishe yangibulala ngizohlangana namadoda. My voice was never like this. Ilinyazwe yizi dakamizwa bengifunda noTsiyamo la form.
As we can.
Yes, ma'am.
Please try and shoot to the question so
Thank
that
you.
we allow this discussion.
Thank you. My issue now njengoba baba ayikhulumile ipoint emasontweni they no longer foster the true responsibility yokuvusa the donkeys bazibuyisele ekhaya zi better than they found them. How do we fight the good fight of faith in that regard baba kubonakale the glory of God, high the admiration of man? Blessed. Thank you.
Let's have the question you said again.
Okay. Ngiyabingelela. Igama uMelusi. Umbuzo wami Krotman uzwakale ukhuluma ukuthi mawuqeda ukushaya for the first time i45 yakho yayima strongly. And a lot of us here sinenkinga yokuthi sitshela ukuthi ama45 wethu mancane asiperform in bed. When you had drugs yayimile kusho ukuthi wawushaya. Awasekho ama drugs usubstitute ngani ubooster kanjani your sexual performance again?
Sure. Let's go number 4.
Ngiyanibingelela egameni lika Jesu. Bra Abner.
Give us the name.
Oh, igama nguveli kaXaba. Nami ngathi I'm a recovering addict. Ngiyazi ukuthi abantu abaningi bacabanga ukuthi alcohol is not a drug. Uyikhulume kahle ubaba Mariri lapha uthi bekaphuza and ukuphuza kwakhe yiko kumlideleni ekutheni egcine abhema ama drugs. And into engiobservayo bra Abner ukuthi it's easy ukuthi kuvulwe ama tavern elokishini than ukuthi kuvulwe ama business authentic. For instance, if abo baba bafuna ukwenza ama business into bangabanikeza yona just I license ya alcohol kunokuthi babanikeza I license yokuthi bayenze amanye ama business. So umbuzo wami ukuthi indoda izibona kanjani ukuthi stay addicted and why amadoda amaningi ahluleka ukuvuma ukuthi ane addiction?
Now before, that's it?
Yes sir.
Okay, now before you answer, I want to invite a young man to come join with us. It's David, right? David, come. Let's appreciate David. Make sure he's on. All right, make sure David is up. Okay. Please take a seat, David. It's fine. We're good. Yeah. How are you?
I'm super blessed.
You're super blessed. All right. Okay, meet Abner Mariri.
How are you?
Tell us a little bit who you are, and we are not forgetting the questions because I want you, when you answer, just to wrap up pretty much everything. Tell us who you are.
My name is David Pawe. Currently, I'm residing at the Ten Commandment Community Care Center, which is a rehabilitation center.
Rehabilitation center for?
For drug addicts. So I was a Nyaupe addict. And then that's where I found help from Mamlavi's place. The founder is Mamlavi. She is also the director. So we'll see which way to choose. So that is where I found help. Before I went there, I went to numerous rehabs. I went to about 4 or 5 rehabs, and I was all the time relapsing. You know, the last rehab I was at, it was in Hands of Compassion. It's based in Noit Geraj, close to Lanseria Airport. It is run by Rema Bible Church. So Alan Macaulay, the brother to Ray Macaulay, he was my mentor there. We used to run together in the mornings, you know. And then even the run back annual 14 Valentine's marathon, he used to pay for us to go there and run. So basically, into evening, but then I failed because, and what they taught us is that a human being is a triune being, physical, emotional, and spiritual. So I ignored the spiritual part. Then when I was right physically, no more had stomach cramps, and then I thought I was right. You know, only forgetting that, you know, I need God in my life.
How did you quickly, how did this Nyaupe thing, how were you introduced quickly?
Okay, for me it was more of a heart issue. When I was young, at the age of 6 years, I'll try to be quick. My brother, who was 4 years old, who was in my care, in my company, he was stolen. The next street from where I was staying, I stay in Tembisa in Citibank section. And when he was stolen, I was given a cold drink laced with drugs. So I was indirectly introduced to drugs at a young age of 6 years old. So he disappeared. And I saw him when he was going into the car. It was a black car. And there was rumor, like throughout Tembisa, people knew that. That's how I lost my younger brother. And then, you know, that thing, you know, it hurt me so bad that even when I got home, you know, there were, you know, comments like, you know, if only if you could have came home early, this would have never happened. So as I grew up, and another issue is that I never had a father figure in my life. I was raised by my grandmother. You know,
Just before you go any further, you lose me a little bit there.
Yes.
At 6 years old, you were introduced.
Yes.
And then you lost your brother who was 6 years.
Who was 4 years old.
He's 4 years old.
Yes.
So what tell you I drug at 6?
Yes, at 6.
Okay. And okay, go ahead.
Yes, and I never had a father figure in my life. I was raised by my grandmother. When I reached 13 years old, that's when I went to high school. High school, now I was you know, I lacked morals. I lacked, you know, someone to guide me, guidance. I never had guidance because my grandmother, even when I came home at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, midnight, there was no one to shout me and say, hey, you wenzani, wawufike endlini ngaleskhathi. So I did my way, you know. So at the age of 13, esikolweni bokune school bash. So abanye abafana babhema enye drug bebathi double star. Double star. Besibiza ingidi ngesikhathi ngesilokishi. So that one uyayicrusha, uthola iphepha nje, white paper, and then uyayikapa. Then uthola ibhodlela lebhiya, and then uyalikhatha, sifaka isponji sogwayi ngaphansi, sithela insango, bese siyayilayita insango, bathi uyayiframfa, just uyayidonsa, awuyifaki phakathi ukuthi ibe mnyamanyana, bese leya powder uyigayile, uyithela phezulu, then you smoke it.
Okay.
Yabo. And then bathi uyatreka, utreka uvalele, yabo. And then after that, and then ngabatizi nebhiya khona lapho khona namamelo ukuthi. That's how I was introduced. At school.
At age 13.
At age 13, in
high school.
bash.
How old are you now?
Now I'm 36 years old.
And how long have you been recovering?
I've been a drug addict my whole life, since the age of 13 up until now.
But how long have you been recovering?
Clean. Okay. To be honest to you, Pastor.
That's what we want, honest.
Yes. It's now 3 months and counting.
Clean.
Yes.
How long you been at the rehab lab where you are now?
At the rehab, I went April, the 22nd of April.
This
year.
Okay. Now he's sitting next to you. He's saying he's what, 9 years? 9 years. You're counting 3 months. And what does this mean to you?
It means I can beat this. I can achieve. what he has achieved.
What do you want to say to him? And I see you brought some of your
Yes, my fellow
colleagues
brothers,
and brothers.
whom I stay with the center there.
Let's ask your fellow brothers just to stand. We just need to see you. These are gentlemen whom the Lord is helping. All right. Thank you so much. What can you say to him and to them and then cover all the other stuff?
Let me say to you, thank you for creating a platform like this. For me, this would not have been possible. We would not have engaged. And what you represent and your colleagues to me, you represent hope.
Wow.
And I want to say to the men who are here, as you see these young men standing up, this is who we are fighting for. It's a proven fact, a statistical fact, that addicts are intelligent, they're smart. And these young men are smart.
Wow.
And this is our ministry. They are not different than us. They are looking for fathers, they are looking for affirmations, and we need to embrace them and just love them. Okay? So I just want to say, to me, you represent hope. You represent the fact that it's possible, that we can win the war for our children against addiction. And when you create and we recognize them on platforms like this, and thank you to you, Apostle, for me it gives me hope for the future. Imagine if all the churches in the township did the same thing. Imagine if we all did the same thing. It's incredible. Thank you. And 3 months. I remember when I was 3 months. I used to literally come, because I was in a rehab and I came out. I was afraid to leave my house. I think I left my house once a week to go to a support group in the evening, and my wife would come with me.
What was the fear about?
The fear was about relapses.
Okay.
For me,
Did you relapse?
I know. But my son at the school function, so I had to, he said, Dad, you must come because I'm doing a poem. So I went, as I was sitting inside the church hall,
The school hall.
I could feel heaviness behind me. And it was my former supply.
In the same room.
In the same room, but I fell in love. I got a fright of my life. And when my son finished, I went to his dorm group. I literally went to the front where they were and exited. And I found the drug dealer standing right next to my car. And all he said to me was, I have something nice for you. And I got in my car, pushed him, and at the time I stayed 8 months in rehab, and I was 2 months clean, 3 months clean, came back. So I had about 11 months. After 11 months, I changed my phone. I remembered his phone where it was. So I struggled for the next month because I romanticized the idea of, now I'm strong, I'm clean, I can try one more time.
Yeah.
So I had to process all that. So one of the things they teach you in rehab, sorry to belabor the point, one of the things that they teach you is to play the movie through. That a craving, a desire to want to go and use, is like a showing shot of a coming attraction. When you go to the movie, they show you a coming attraction of a feature that's coming later. That movie in its entirety could be bad, but the showing shot is always attractive because it wants you to come and watch the movie. So a craving is a showing shot. So you play the entire movie through that. If I relapse, then the whole cycle comes. You lie, you steal, you cheat, you rob. I sold everything. I sold my wife's jewelry, my children's toys, everything. I sold it. Okay? Appliances in the house, cables in the house, I sold it. Okay? So you play that entire movie through once again to say, how can we do it? How can we do it? You know? So I played the movie through all the time.
You wanted to say something?
Yes, I was saying, even me, currently, I have no place to stay.
Where is home?
I stay in City Bay. My mother chased me out of the house Because sorry ended up losing meaning. Because I was stealing and stealing. Mama, I'm sorry. Mama, I'm sorry. Now I was, before I went to the rehab, I was sleeping at the back of the room at my mother's house.
Does your mom know now that you are in rehab? You're clean for 3 months.
Yes,
Have you gone to mom?
Yes, she knows, but then, Mom Lavi sent her my pictures, but now she's saying, we know. We know. We
It's
see
a matter of
it's
time.
nice, we see it's
You're
nice.
going to be fine.
But
You're
we
already
know that-
fine.
Yes.
It's a matter of time, and mom is going to. I think we need to wrap. I'm concerned about time. You want to give us a bit of
Let me answer a
wrap?
couple of alcohol.
A quick one.
Maybe let me go to alcohol. It's a mood altering substance. The problem with alcohol is easily available. My target choice was not alcohol, but because it's a mood altering substance, the tendency for me to go to another level after using alcohol was very high because my mood was altered. So it was an entrance to another dimension. A lot of people don't think alcohol is a drug. It is a drug.
And it's dangerous
Incredibly dangerous.
because it alters the mood, and then you want to do other things. That's why alcohol uyayishayi omunye phezu komunye mara uvuke ekuseni ungazi ukuthi bowuphezu kwabani kanjani and so on.
Khona out yam yathola umahosha somewhere, because mawuye eklabhini, mawungena eklabhini ubona wonke umuntu akunayimedi. So as the night progresses and the alcohol consumption increases, they kind of change,
The same people.
The same people. Might at 2 o'clock in the morning, they're all like Naomi Campbell, boom. They're like models. So I'll tell you top one, my top one, my favorite saying, it's only your sister in Amazon.
Ubuzale sister.
Yes. That year later is still it's for me, it alters your mood, okay, and ushers you into another thing. A lot of people don't even think that now they've legalized stuff. Okay, now you're one path away from psychosis. One path. I went to a meeting 2 weeks ago. The guy said to me, but I've been smoking 20 years and blah blah blah. I said, good for you, but it might be different for another person. You're one path away from losing your mind. Psychosis, that means you know psychosis, you conduct prayers that don't exist, you're talking to people that don't exist. 2 young ladies, one from Swaziland, in the rehab I was. Shocking, true story. We conduct figure that intelligent about the conversation. Yet man, what's wrong with this lady? But it was a ball. In the afternoon, we conduct to choir, foot you have a nigga and a keys. When it's in the door, I'm not moving to okay? And she's screwed for life like that.
Sure.
She's basically relegated to pills. So take it at your own expense. It's a mood altering substance we need to get rid of. So how do you, in the church, somebody asked a question about how do you keep a balance in the church? Look, for me, Rome was not built in one day. We come from churches that preach Christ crucified, the pastor is called, and that's all he knows. And in the current dispensation, the churches are opening up. And I think what we do, we've got talent in the church. We've got social workers, we've got departments. In our church, we've got something called Project Exodus, where we capacitated 5 people, took them to training to be able to offer support to members and the children's members who are struggling with addiction. So we've got social workers, we've got an active component. So Rome was not built in one day. What I'm going to ask you is that here, as apostles already have done what they've done, you'll see now all kinds of things will begin to raise to say, how do we support people who are coming to our church who are struggling with addiction? Yes, some churches are very discriminatory because especially the Pentecostals and Charismatics, we think holiness is defined by a certain look and a certain dress. And we say, come to church, that's where Jesus is. But if you want them, see Sasha is scared, Asha Lokuzan, it's full of keep, I say, I'm charged, I'm labeled, I'm condemned. if a drug dealer that is known come to church, you know, say, "Ooh, who's bad man?" But this is a sanctuary of hope. This is a place where they need to come to find Jesus. If anything, we should be the ones who have a spirit of discernment, who are on the lookout for those kinds of people. It should not be the issue of the apostle who you obey in the church, to get a discernment with Nakamati. That person needs intervention. It must be us who submitted under his leadership to say, God, give us that spirit to care for God's people. When they come in, we can see, no, their sister, I see right. Or something like, we have that. And we don't necessarily have to always lump everything in fullness. If we have a spirit, who's taught? When we operate, to something, I used to say, time, increase your eating about this situation. As long as I'm not increase your I know that we can see that. So in the church, we need to create an atmosphere that non-judgmental. I don't pay the hands in prison. It's the house of God. Okay? Just because somebody has gone to prison and come back, committed murder, means nothing. You know, when that scripture says you are running your own race, but there's a cloud of witnesses that is looking. Look at that cloud of witnesses. I identify an outlaid who got drunk and became naked. And his son, it was the two sons that came to one laughed. Now to be drunk and naked, that means we try it. You don't become drunk and naked just and he's a cloud of witness. Mariri run your race. So what we need to do is to create an atmosphere where people become comfortable with their own issues with it. It's in the house of God. This is where I'm going to get help. Okay? So we need to keep that balance. How do you substitute before 5 Bevuga? Even before. But with drugs, it was even 10 times more. But it was temporal. Because isn't those Satani, they are attractive, but they're temporal. So after excessive use of drugs, before 5 I suffer. Never.
Sure.
So that's how the enemy wants to attract you. He gives you all these things and say, look what I have. Not so much palate. As signs are the way you experience. What I've experienced with my own trouble is that in the first year, you've got amazing erections. Am I better that?
Yeah, sure.
So you've got amazing erections. And you are sucked into that life. When now you are tired of that life, in my experience, my journey, when you are tired of that life, you want to come out. I serve voguing, you no longer have sexual desires. Let me bring another dimension and then I close. The dimension is that when I went to rehab, at the height of my addiction, I was no longer having a desire for a woman, but there was some sort of a spirit being, apostle, that will come almost to sleep with me. Not almost. I could feel I'm sleeping with something and even ejaculate, but there was nothing. When I got to rehab, they grouped us according to our drugs of choice, and mine was crack cocaine. There's a sexual demon associated with crack cocaine, both for males and for females. For males, last week I was doing a research because now I get invitations even from corporate South Africa to come and speak on drugs. There's a spiritual dimension when it comes to drugs. The male sexual demon is called incubus, and the female is succubus. So when you're area, because I used to literally, because when you smoke drugs, when you take crack cocaine, the first thing that goes is your clothes. I used to walk bare feet in winter, hot as hell, because the drugs, yes, we are changing them. So you can't do drugs with your clothes on. At least you can't do crack with your clothes on. Can you imagine for women? So every time you smoke with tape, the first thing that goes is their clothes and my clothes. You smoke like this. So I discovered that even when you are now a proper addict, with 4 women in the room, you'll have no sexual desire for them. But when you are alone, there will be something that comes and brings you comfort. Until I went to rehab and discovered that I had a demon called suffering.
Sure.
That was basically my companion.
Wow.
Okay? So that's the spiritual dimension. So what you need to do, so when you come out of it, life was not meant to be like that. You were not meant to sleep 12 hours and wake up for 4 days, because we'll be up. Amachita, Kashaya, Baiken, Umasalungalali for 4 days. And you still be fresh, the way you fresh in the corner. Namsaj. 4 nights. Who call him back? It's funny. And I used to be afraid of water. If you are being told the man's what bag and what booger Stop. Because when you use drugs, you don't care for your health, you don't care for anything. All you want, these are 2 things. Biltong, because in a twine, and the yogurt to keep my body functioning. But when I lose weight now, I twig in hand. When you soda, you announce that I've been shining each other brown. You so about 2 years, I didn't half an hour, that's only chance of town, getting more time, shang. It's about to Mariri cuts out for to be number maybe release. What I'm solely Mahlangu. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasing pleasure. Put your hands together.
Please repent right here. Repent right here, right now, today.
But before all I want to say to you, I think I saw one comment, and how do you say, good fight of faith and answered alcoholism.
Yes, you've pretty much. What's your closing words, really? What?
My closing words is, you don't know how grateful I am. I came back from rehab. I've got an agent who markets my services as a speaker. You will be surprised how many companies, corporate companies, that refer me, that ask me to come and speak about substance abuse. I never thought in my wildest dreams I'll speak about the subject that I'm speaking about today. So I'm very passionate. I've got an agenda. I've found my calling, and my calling is to set the captives free by the grace of God. I've referred DGs, I've referred MDs, I've referred medical doctors. I'm dealing with young kids, I'm dealing with parents, I'm dealing with pastors who are addicted to drugs, and their wives who are alcoholics. You understand? Drug addiction is an all-equal employer. Does not discriminate. Age, sex, gender, social status, it does not discriminate. As long as you are who you are a target. Remember what I said earlier. The enemy, the thief, comes to steal and destroy. Where is he going to start? He's going to start in the house of God. Because he wants to embarrass the person called Jesus Christ. And how does he embarrass him? By me and you. So I want to say to the apostle, with the utmost of humility, thank you so much for creating this platform. First launch, look at how many men are here. The thing that is going to make us unique is to find that niche of saying, manifest. This is our niche. Men, if established, will do in the word of God, will do amazing things. And I think for me that is your niche. To help men out there to come into the house, to come and get established. And from there, we aggressively go and find other men. The kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force. We are unapologetic about who we are in Christ. We are resolute. We fear nothing. We are powerful beyond measure. And let's stand up as such and surround this man and say, forward we go, backward we never stand.
Abner Mariri. Let's appreciate God. Come on. Let's thank God for this man. And thank you, David. One thing that I want to say is thank you that your emphasis is definitely saying it's a spiritual matter, and that you stood here and the first thing you said, you are looking at a miracle, and then you said it's by grace. And I want to say thank you that it did not kill you. You survived it. You came through to tell everybody else, to say it's doable, and you will come out. May God increase you and strengthen you and make you great, open many doors, and restore you 10 times, 50 times, 100 times more for generations, that generations will know that everything you went through was for establishing generational blessings. God bless you.
Well, on behalf of Amadoda, I say, Bandleni, we say thank you so much for pouring your heart to us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have got some healing today, and we've got a token of appreciation that we want to give it to you. Over and above that, we have a t-shirt that we want you just to sign as part of our launch manifest.
And our first speaker.
As our first speaker.
This is history in making. Wow.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you so much. One more time, Abner Mariri. Are you keen to find out your surname? From your father was, your grandfather was adopted, and so on.
I'm in the process of finding out. I found my father's true aunt.
Okay, so they are busy giving you.
They're busy giving me a history. Funny enough, when I was growing up, my brother used to say, "Asis na Mariri." My late brother.
So he knew stuff. Abner Mariri and David, thank you so much. We know you're gonna you come out right. You're gonna make it. Stay strong, stay there, and all of you guys. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you so much. Come on, let's appreciate God. Come on. All right, I'm made aware that there's lunch prepared. It's just going for 60 rand per person. Am I right? Just 60 rand. We're going to have lunch, and so while they are still getting the lunch is not yet ready. So what we will do, we will shoot straight to the next speaker, who will take us to lunch. And then after lunch, we will deal with health, men's health. We have Dr. Shabalala joining us. And after that, we have Pastor Khadebe close us in the spiritual aspect, and we can all have time in the presence of God. You don't want to go. You don't want to leave. You want to stay until you hear Pastor Thomas Khadebe. He's too much. His story is... You see, I didn't bring you people. I told you, these are people who know something. These are people who've been through something. These are people who understand something. These are people who will impart something to you. So I want us to, are we going into our next speaker? Am I right? Okay.
Amen. Can we please put our hands together and appreciate God in this moment? Amen. Singahlanya phansi ke bazalwane. Amen. Yes. Hallelujah. Igama lami uSipho Jordan Sibongo wakaSoto. Siyabonga. Ngisindisiwe ithi amen bazalwane. So I'm a comedian. Amen. I'm a comedian. Thank you very much. Ngithanda ukubingelela ngokukhethekile abafundisi, umfundisi Soli Mahlangu. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And yeah, yimlo. Njengoba kwafa le ndoda, kwabanjalo ukufa kwayo. Ngadlala sicela labazalwane. It's always scary ukwenza i-comedy esontweni, especially makunamadoda kuphela. It's very scary. So ngikhulele ekhaya labazalwane. I'm the second one to be born again. Last born ngokuzalwa. So wonke umuntu ekhaya sisindisiwe basically. Wonke umuntu sikhuluma ilanguage yokukholwa endlini. Nginokufika endlini ngibona i-tin bread ngithi mama isinkwa siphele ngendlela emangalisayo. Siphele ngemangalisayo. Yazi le voice yokushumayela. So ngiyamthanda kakhulu uNkulunkulu. And this is umasikhulu enkonzweni. We were taught ukuthi amadoda wakhali, amadoda inhloko zamakhaya, all those things. And I've realized ukuthi vele amadoda wakhali. If we cry, we have a certain way of crying. It's either you go to your room, lock yourself there, and ukhali. In public, we don't. And I think good right. Ngicela sibambe net kanjalo singakhali. Because we don't have a right tone to cry. We don't have a right key to cry. We don't have a right pitch. Yabo yokukhala. Just imagine abo baba bakhala emngcwabeni kushoniwe, khala abo baba kuphela. Ngazokala ngathi iipika zisha ama Twitter zonke. Uzothi usishile mfowethu anyeke kulunga. Inhliziyo zingachifta zika left. Ngaba ne earthquake. So I love it. Abo mama bakwazi ukukhala and bayenza ibe nice lento yabo. Yabo bakhala baphinde bakhulume at the same time. Ibe nale yanto leyana musumthola khala inhliziyo yami ebhlungu angazi kwenzakala. Abo baba next. Mara khona labo baba bakhala khona bakhala esontweni. Ngathi uJesu unokuma lapha emoyeni ezweni likamoya athi angisho nina nikhali nina. Worshipani bese ningena la emoyeni ngizanikhomba. Nicule anibheke uJesu nicule mase ni right mase ningena emoyeni athi uzibaba siyabonga baba siyabonga mfowethu mphethe uJesu ngeswazi. I'm so worried. Angwaboni amadoda la amanye lawa stay soft la a 2-in-1 gay. I'm so very worried. Bengithi ngizobathola laba khona, I think ebandleni mele siba ficture nabo as ababekasasho ukuthi singaba discriminate. I would want to see umfundisi wegay ashumayela la mfundisi umnika ithuba lokuthi azoshumayela. Nobugay bakhe, And amagay awekho patient. Into zabo bafuna straight to the point. Bashaya into yabo baphuma endaweni. Sengiyabona niyacula lapha nibiza umfundisi angisho maka uThemba uzoba uThemba rar. Ba enter that thing ekugcineni ezela phambili azoshumayela. Umbona ngokuphakama lapha yana ukuthi yes sintshumayela namhlanje izoshisa. And abafuni laba bokubanjelwa bazibambela iBhayibheli. Introduce umbona phakama athi Hallelujah bazalwane njani sikhona siyaphila ni slow man ithini amen. Okay. Okuzoyenzeka manje sizofunda iBhayibheli lethu kuJohn 3:16 yalazimos, okay? Funda bese afunde loyana. Angisho niyazi musesontweni iBhayibheli silifunda slow. uNkulunkulu athi okay salazi thina sonke, okay, all right, phangaphoza lapho. uNkulunkulu walithanda izwe ngaka. Waze wanikela ngentuthu yakhe ezele yonke kuba yiloyo naloyo angabhubhi abenokuphila okuphakade. And we ask when you're preaching about the message of the cross, You get emotional yourself as a preacher. Bakhona bashumayelayo. Whenever you preach about the cross, now by emotional because in the end it was very painful. Uzomzwa athi, you know, uJesu bamthatha ne lapha eGetsemane bamshaya. Bamshaya. Aphuma igazi omunye umntana yazi bamshaya ngelanga lokuqala wakhala bamshaya yazi bamkhafule ngelanga lesi2 lapha ama-judge athi hey wathi bamshaya ke bamshaya uJesu bamshaya akazi mina bemshayela uJesu bamshaya intekazi bamshaya uJesu busuku namini bamkhafulela abaphansi avungekho umuntu omsize abantu abanenhliziyo yazi abantu abanenembeza abanenhliziyo but okay it's fine ngoba ke yonke lento beyenzeka ukuthi kusindiswe mina nawe. Amen. Ngicela nimshayele izandla, haleluya. Sindisiwe lo baba lo. Sindiswe kayi2. Thethelelwe izono nalezinye izono. Angisho nenkinga yokudla istock sweet. Nomthola dining room asimunye. Ngiyadlala bazalwane ngiyadlala. Besicela iFYD 676 MP imoto ithi ukudeda khona imoto efuna ukuphuma. FYD 676 MP sibonge kuleyo ndawana. I hope le moto evimbile la akusiyigay yemoto. Yeah, ubengile ndaba yami le. Yes. Uyazi uJesu masekafika esiphambanweni kwenzakalani bayamfaka lapha esiphambanweni bayamshaya. Angisho yakhala upreacher ngoba seka emotional. Bamlengisa uJesu bamvula izandla bamgogotela ispeaking wathuna wavele nje isinga isilima samkwaza yazi samkwaza kuphi samkwaza la. Waphuma igazi ke namanzi. But ke it's fine ngoba ngafika mina nawe. Sengiyabona sekathandazela abantu lapha. Niyazi nina nithanda ukuwama abanthandazela. Keep amadimoni lapha. Out. Bo umuntu phansi. Out. Bo. Bese kuba nale part laba interview amadimoni yazi umuntu. Yey ningakhi. Niyabazi la. Ningakhi la. Yeah, it will be different because bona bazoli, hey. Yey ningakhi. Ay man guys ningakhi. C3 C4 and I'm okay when a patient you won't go to these guys are okay it's fine buzz off next. This is the right zalwane. It will be nice. Fana namapantsula ngikhulele eDavidton eThathu. Ikaslethu it's hardcore pantsula culture, you know, and I have a friend who pantsula, you know. And there's in my growing up, I categorize amapantsula into 3 categories. There is laba bajone ama gents, laba bagcoka kahle, laba bahamba, you know, ababambela phansi, mambulisa intwana small ugrand show intwana. Mawuthi ucela iskifa athi angiphe imsana nelight. Cover grant. Shaka kahle upholile. Bese khona lezi ngathi sijoin ukupantsula ngewinter. Ubona ngewalk. Yilezi zihamba so. Bekubanda maka join ipantsula. Bese khona lezi ngathi sihlale zishaya abazishaya namathamba wasamanga kahle inyawo azicoordinate nenhloko uma hamba so. Just imagine ke uyashumayela uslangera. And again mina ngibhizi ke bafundisa I'm translating iBible from your normal reading to ispantsula no ngifuna aphile yabo kuma gang, you know. So ngifuna vele mabafika lapha balifunde ngespantsula iBible. No. Njengale verse leli John 3:16 afika uslangera athi ukfader walincanywa izwe fandi 1 waze wasigaya incosi yakhe ayizale iyotho ukuthi iloyo naloyo angabhodi kepha abe nokuphila abe nokuphila okuwayawaya. Thank you very much. I will come to Bex. Ngizobuya bazalwane. Khona into engifuna ukuyenza manje. Uzobona ukuthi ngiyoyenzani.
Let's appreciate our comedian. Thank you so much. Uzobuya zoyenza into yakhe. Please be aware that all the t-shirts that we're wearing, we've got them at the back, and we've got some merchandise at the back. Go help yourself. Don't worry if you don't have the money. If you have your card, we have swipe machines. If you don't have your card, we have snap scans. So if you have a snap scan app on your phone, you can just tap them, and our lunch is going to be 60. Have we made provision that those who don't have cash but want to swipe for lunch, we can have that provision? All right. So don't worry even if you know. So our t-shirts are 160 and lunch is 60 rand. Our speaker who's taking us into lunch is Dr. Ngoveni, and we want to allow him to come and talk to us. You are welcome, sir. Thank you so much. He's a doctor. And I looked at your profile. I said, I can't say this profile. This profile is... I said, where does this man come from? So thank you for coming. We appreciate. Let's stand on our feet and let's receive Dr. Ngoveni. Please come. Let's appreciate God. Let's appreciate God. Let's appreciate God.
Inhlekani minjani bakulukumba Staba sithamisekele ku ri ni mi address hi Xitsonga namuntlha. Good afternoon, gentlemen. I almost said ladies. I guess my role for now is to address you on estates and wills, right? I'm going to keep it short. Oh, you may be seated, sorry. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. And I love interaction, right? And as much as I'll be presenting, but you also individually, in turn in groups, be in a position to also share some of your experiences and knowledge with the rest of the group. And so I guess in terms of estates and wills, I'm just going to really cover 8 key points, right? Now, the first thing that we need to understand is to say, first and foremost, how is an estate planning, and will, how are the 3 related, right? So with these 8 points, we will put all those 3 into context, right? First and foremost, can anyone guess and tell the group as to what is an estate? Any volunteers? What is an estate? Shall I pick a person? Okay. Now, an estate is nothing but your assets and liabilities. Right? Just your assets and liabilities. Now, if you were to ask me, what do I mean by assets? The very same clothes you're wearing, those are your assets. The shoes you're wearing are your assets. The watch you've put on is your asset. The car for those who came driving is your asset. Your home is your asset. The life insurance, if you have, is your asset. The property, the land, the money that you have, the investments that you have, all of those are assets. What about liabilities? For those of you who don't have cash to buy a car cash like our previous speaker, you have to take a loan to buy some form of an asset, be it a car, be it a home. By virtue of you taking a loan, that loan becomes a liability. If you take a credit card to buy clothes, that credit card, for as long as you have not paid it, it remains a liability. The people that you owe money, the accounts that you owe, you have consulted with Dr. A or consultant B and you owe them money. Those are liabilities, right? So in summary, an estate is just your assets and liabilities, right? Now the question is, when you've got assets and liabilities, what do we call that state where your assets, or rather your liabilities, are more than your assets? Then that we call insolvency, because you don't have enough assets to cover your liabilities. Because remember, if you have that car, it is not practically your car until you've paid off the loan, right? Because I don't know how many of you have had the unfortunate experience of a bank coming to repossess your car because you can't pay your repayments monthly, right? It shows that it is not your asset until you've paid it in full, right? So that's why when we talk of an estate, we talk of what we call a net estate or your net assets, right? If you were to ask me at any point in time to say, let me give an example of the late Michael Jackson. We all know the late Michael Jackson. From the time he was young, Billie Jean, the moonwalk and all of that. It's just that I can't do the moonwalk today because I need to present. But now, he had an opportunity to make a lot of money, millions of money, right? But did he die rich or poor? He died poor. Why? It's because no matter how much money you have, your net assets or net estate, for it to be positive, you must always balance between your assets and liabilities, right? If you allow your lifestyle to get you to buy a lot of things, you end up with a negative asset value, right? It's like now, if you are earning so much, if you are to buy a private jet, which will go into millions, to maintain it, it's millions, right? So, if your income goes into millions, and yet your liabilities goes into billions, what happens? Negative asset value, right? You become insolvent. Now, let's move on to the next point. Now, when we talk of estate planning, it's a situation whereby you need to be realistic and honest with yourself. Say to yourself, let me look at my assets. Let me look at my liabilities. Am I solvent or insolvent? Right? And if you are insolvent, it's a state of emergency. You need to correct that. Okay? Because when you die without enough assets, whatever that you put down in your will, your beneficiaries are not going to get anything. Because when we administer your estate, when you are dead, we start by saying assets minus liabilities, whatever remains, that's what your heirs or beneficiaries can get. So if you've got assets that are 40 million and your liabilities are 60 million, are your beneficiaries going to get anything? My point exactly. So you then need to engage, whilst you're still alive, into what you call estate planning, because I'm sure most of us have got family, kids, wife, and other dependents. The question is, would you like to provide for them even when you're gone? If the answer is yes, engage in estate planning, where we can work out as to whether is your estate solvent enough to provide for beneficiaries. But I'm one not to emphasize when you die, because I remember after I qualified at medical school, the reason why I didn't buy insurance immediately is because I had brokers who only talked of me dying. In case you die, take insurance in case you die. I said, Why do you want to preoccupy my mind with death? Right? So the point is, in terms of your estate, my advice to you would be to say, you need to live a comfortable life. Once you live that comfortable life, anything else you can plan for. You follow? You don't plan to say in case you die. No. You plan for the now to say, as in now, do I have a house? Have I achieved my dreams? Do I live in my dream home? You manage your life as in now, right? As you do that and you do it properly, the consequence is that you're going to end up with a positive net asset. The question is, when you die with that positive net asset, what then happens, right? Now, the question is, assuming you have enjoyed life, you have lived it well, you didn't worry about should you die, but you still made provision, right? Now, if you die, what actually happens to your estate? The question is, if you die with a will, having drafted a will, then your estate will be distributed and liquidated on the basis of your will. If you said, my wife is going to take everything, she'll take everything. If you say, my kids are going to take everything, they're going to take everything. If you say, my girlfriend is going to take everything, they'll take everything. Right? Now, what is a will? Now, of course, if you die without a will, what then happens? Because you don't have a will. There is a law we call, or an act, which we call Interstate Succession Act. It is an act that was passed by Parliament ages ago, right? Now, that act stipulates that in the event where you die without a will, this is how your estate should be liquidated and distributed. And that's very scary in the sense that this is how it works. If I'm single with no children, right, or with no descendants, everything I have goes to my parents. If my parents are deceased or dead, it goes to my brothers and sisters. If I don't have, it goes back to my parents, then to my grandparents, right? If they're still alive, they'll take. If they're both dead, then it will go to my uncles and aunts, right? Meaning that uncle who never bothered about you, who turned a blind eye when you needed help, when you were still struggling, now you died a billionaire, that uncle will get everything from you. Right? So, it is therefore important to have a will. Because in your will, you are the boss. In your will, you can say, no, my daughter A, she's not going to get a cent from me because she's disrespectful. You can disinherit anybody. You are not forced to benefit your family. You can disinherit your wife, kids. You can even give money to a friend in your will because you are the boss. Right? But the only thing is that in your will, certain people can still have a claim against your estate even if you did not benefit them in a will. Like if you died with children who are still dependent, even if you did not provide for them in the will, they can still claim maintenance from your estate. If you did not provide for your spouse or your wife, she can still claim maintenance from your estate. Of course, if you're married in community of property and you have a will that disinherits your wife, she'll still take 50% of everything. Right? Because you're married in community of property. Are you with me? So, basically, your will, it's in essence a legal document. It's a legal document with instructions of what should happen in the event of your dying. And it's a legal document that will deal with the settlement of your liabilities and the bequest of your assets to say, this will go to so and so, this will go to so and so. But like I said, provided there's enough in your estate to give over. Now, the next point is, you need to take cognizance of the fact that for a will to be enforceable, it must be valid, right? It must be a valid will. And what do we mean by a valid will? A will must be in writing. You cannot say, oh, before Opa died, he said to me when we were sitting at the bar that his car should come to me, the money to the wife. No, it must be in writing. First point. Second point, you must be 16 years or older to be able to draft a will, right? Thirdly, you should always have 2 witnesses. That are what age? Can anyone guess? Above? In terms of the will, there are exceptions to the rule. Remember, you can draw up a will when you're 16. That also consequentially drops the age of your witnesses. Your witnesses could be 14 years or over. Yes, meaning what your witnesses do, all they need to do is to say, hey, Soli, yes, we were with Soli when he signed. We were with Soli, he was not drunk. No one was putting a gun to his head to say, benefit me, right? No one influenced him unduly. He was normal. He was not at Vescopis when he signed the will, right? So they will only need to attest to that to say he was solely as we know him, right? That's why it could be up to the age of 14, right? Now, can I draft my own will as a layperson? Yes, you can, but, with a big but, it is not a good idea. Because remember what I said before. I said a will is a legal document which needs to be valid. And furthermore, the provisions in a will, depending on the complexity of your estate, because things can get crazy, right? It's like, for instance, you've drawn up a will, and in that will you said, my mother will take everything. And you find that your mother dies before you do, and you don't change your will. You did not revoke it, you didn't cancel it, and you die subsequently. What's going to happen to your estate? So there are certain rules that are applicable, because in that event, it might be that interstate succession is going to come in and say, oops, because whoever that was supposed to benefit is gone, and we cannot transfer it in representation. Now, when you drop a will, let's say you have kids, 3 of them. Normally, when we draft the will, we will say that they'll get maybe equal shares. If they predecease the testator, then it can go to their own offspring or descendants. So in that way, even if they were to predecease you and you die after them, that benefit, it will go to whosoever is representing them. If it is their kids will take over. Are you with me? But there would be certain circumstances whereby if we've bequeathed something to your friend and they die before you do, and you die subsequently and you didn't change your will, in that case, it cannot go to their kids because it's not the law. It will have to go back to your estate. And when it comes here, there's no will to deal with that benefit. So it will have to be distributed based on the rules of interstate succession. Are we together? Now, it is better to really engage certified financial planners who specialize with wills and estates, and also legal practitioners who specifically specialize in wills and estate. The reason why I'm emphasizing specialize is because not every lawyer can draft you a good will. Not every financial planner can draft you a good will that is legally sound in every respect. You need to get either a legal practitioner or a certified financial planner that specifically specializes in dealing with wills and estates. Point 7. Of course, I think I've dealt with it. Can I exclude my family, wife, and kids from benefiting from my will? I said it before, yes, you can. Now, the last point is that of estate administration. When you die, when you're dead, we call you the deceased. There's an office, the offices everywhere, Bloemfontein, Pretoria, Johannesburg. It's called the Master's Office. That's an office that will oversee the liquidation and distribution of your estate, right? Whoever you appoint as an executor of your estate to say, this is the person who will run with the wrap-up of my estate, that person has got to get authority from the Master of the High Court to be able to do so, right? I think that was my last point. Any questions?
I think let's appreciate God first for. All right, we're going to go the same route that we did, and we want to say thank you. That was good, quick information. We're going to go the same route. If you have a question, you'll raise a hand while I'm asking you, sir. The first one, you said a credit card can be a liability. Can you use a credit card just as a facility and you put your own money to use it? Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea?
Okay, that's a good question. Now, from a financial planning perspective, I always have interesting arguments with my clients because some of them have had bad experiences with credit cards. So they tend to take an extreme view, no credit card, no use of any loans or liability and so forth and so forth. The principle is as follows. You need to manage your lifestyle. Don't live beyond your means. Because I tell you now, if I were to give you 100,000 and you go and live in Lesotho and you live a moderate lifestyle, that 100,000 could possibly last you for more than 20 years. But if I were to give you 100,000 and you go and live in Sandton, in a week's time, it's blown away. Now, the point is, lifestyle is important, people. Now, in terms of credit card and any other facilities where you're given a loan, a facility of some sort, if you use it responsibly, it could be part of financial planning because in finance, we talk of cash flow. Cash flow is very, very important. To give an example, I've always had credit cards. But there was never a time whereby I would take a credit card to go fancy. No, I always spend my money because what happens in that case, you can open a credit card, right? Then ensure that your groceries and everything you spend through the credit card with a proviso that the bank can then take the full amount monthly from a check account to basically square it up. If you do it that way, you're not living beyond your means because actually, you are taking advantage of the 40-day period. Because with the credit card, you've got 40 days to pay. So you save on interest. Can you imagine if you have, like when I was building, I could buy material worth 1 million, right? Now, if I buy it through a credit card, what would then happen is to say, I would have a 40-day grace before I could pay it back. So in other words, if you calculate interest on 1 million over 40 days, it's a lot of money. So in that way, I could save on interest. And furthermore, there are loyalty programs, like the one that I don't like anymore, British Airways, South African Airways, e-bucks and so forth.
Yes.
If you spend through your credit card, you earn points. And those points, you can do a lot with them. Like this day, if I need to top up my kids with airtime, I use my e-bucks, right? I use all sorts of loyalties. So in other words, there would be credit cards are always linked to a program of some sort, and you don't pay any charges for spending on a credit card. The one who pays is the merchant. If you go to McDonald's and they swipe your card, they'll pay between 2 and 5% to the bank, not yourself, right? So if you use a credit card, use it for those strategic reasons. One being to say you take advantage of the 45 grace period. Within that 40 days, you can literally take your money, invest it, and when the 40-day comes, you give them capital, you keep the interest.
Oh, wow. The last part is very interesting to me, taking advantage of the 40 days. So a credit card is not necessarily bad.
Yes.
It's a facility that can be used. Let's go to the will. the will. Okay, I'm checking hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We stop. 8. We stop. Let me and I would like Dr. Ngoveni to do them quickly. Is the bank a good place to draw the will?
Look, like I said before, anyone who draws a will, they should be specialists in that area.
So when you go to the bank, they must give you someone who specializes in that.
Yes, it should be a specialist, and then that really specializes that, because it's not all a case of drafting a document. You need to really take everything into cognizance. Ordinarily, when we do a will, we also do estate planning at the same time, right? Because there's no point in saying that my car will go to my cousin when your estate is insolvent, right? So we combine the two. So anyone who is specialized, and even if they were to draft you a will, always seek a second opinion in relation to its really soundness, right? But it's an avenue that people can use if it's available for people to use.
Can we clap all the 7 questions? And then you can let's shoot. Let's start. We'll go in that same order.
Thank you. My name is Tim Mabena. I'm going to take you back to when I die. You don't like it, doctor, but in case I die today and they freeze all my accounts, I didn't have a will. All my accounts are frozen, and the remaining, my beneficiaries, wants the letter of authority. How long does it take the Master of High Court to give that letter of authority?
Thank you. The next question. Let's go straight that order. No. Oh, okay. I wanted to finish that section quickly. There were 2 hands that section.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
My name is Gift.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask to Doctor to say, like he said, your estate is asset minus liabilities. So I wanted to ask if, Doctor, it happens that I die and I don't have a will, but then I do have a trust fund, a trust. Because it is said that a trust is a legal person on its own. So I wanted to know if my trust, when I die, what will happen to my trust? How will it be distributed?
Thank you very much. All right, thank you. The yellow t-shirt, sorry, my brother, to junior that way. Okay, use the mic that's working.
My name is Nathan.
Yes, Nathan.
I want to know, where can I invest my money to make sure I earn high interest? I mean, because I believe you invest with Old Mutuals, but I believe they still make more money. Like, where do people like Old Mutual invest that money that we invest?
Okay, there's one next to you. Shoot quickly.
My name is Sipone. I just need clarity on something that you said to the latter, is it master's office, if I had correctly? Ne? So, for example, a scenario here, in an event where you need what we call a letter of authority, do you go directly to the masters, or do I have to physically go to the court? Like, I just need to know who drafts that letter between one of the two.
All right, let's come front here.
My name is Thomas, doctor. Just want to ask a financial general question. That what can be done to deprogram us and reprogram us around the issues of education of money? Because the challenge being, most of us are not growing from families that were saving money. We grew up from families that were using money. Families that were not investing money. So the whole concept of saving and investing, but the family never taught us that. So what can the church do? What can the community do to unlearn community around the value of money?
Yep, you should, yes. Okay, run to him a mic that's working.
Dr. Doctor, I wanted to ask if an executor, how do you deal with assets that belongs to a family? For an example, a house. It belongs to my other brothers and sisters. I don't want to die and then it goes to my wife. How do you deal with that situation that it belongs to all of us?
All right.
Next year.
Hello, sir. Changane Shilo. I'm Mozambican by birth and I'm living in South Africa. So I want to include my mother and my will. So do I have to take the very same will which I drafted here at my government in Mozambique, or how do we do?
All right, the next one was here. Yes.
Thank you, Doctor and Apostle. My name is Mandla. I just wanted to ask if you are married and out of property, and what happens to your pension fund or provident fund to your will?
Okay. The one at the back.
What are the good investment opportunities? Because there's a talk of Bitcoins, Forex, and so on. Currently, in this new millennium, what are the good investment policies, opportunities for us as black people? Is property still a good investment opportunity, or do we go for your Forex, do we go for your Bitcoins, and many other coins? Thank you.
You got all the questions. Right, yes, I'm going to sit down.
All right.
I think that was the last one, wasn't it? Huh? We didn't have a hand this side, am I right? So, okay, awesome.
All right, let me start with the second last one, then I will get to those that I've noted. Now, in terms of there are certain funds we call benefit funds. Your pension fund, retirement annuity, provident fund, provident preservation, and pension preservation, right? Now, those funds, you cannot make provisions in your will for them, because when you die, the trustees of those funds take over. They become the bosses. They decide who gets what, right? Now, what is important as far as the benefit funds is concerned is that you need to ensure that you update your beneficiary nomination. They're always linked to beneficiary nominations, right? If we have nominated beneficiaries, it's not a guarantee that they're going to get that 50%, 20, and 30 that you gave them. What the trustees do in that event is to say, fine, let's identify all the dependents of this man or this woman. Seeing that I'm talking to men, this man. Now, in case it does not matter who you excluded and included, if you've got kids at Mozambique that you did not disclose, and the trustees discover after your death, they're going to bring them into the pool. If your family was of the impression that you only had 2 kids, whereas you had 15, and those 15 are discovered, they'll be grouped together, and the trustees will apportion based on need to say who's got the most needs. So the youngest kids will definitely get the most. If I'm one of your kids and I'm already a professor, rest assured that even if you had nominated me as a beneficiary, I will not get a cent. So the beneficiary nomination is important for the purpose of you making the job for the trustee easy. And also it's important because if there is sufficient money, they can then honor the percentages that you allocated to various people. However, in the event where you die and you don't have dependents, right? That money will go where? Back to your estate. And it will be distributed based on whether you have a will or no will. But most of us die with a dependent of some sort. Because that dependent, it could even be your girlfriend. If your girlfriend can prove that, hey, Me and this man, we were staying in the same house for 15 years, even if we were not married. So they deem your girlfriend to be the spouse. She can literally get everything, and your brothers and sisters may get nothing. Next point. Are you happy with that one? Or unhappy? Now, Bitcoin, Forex, and other investments. Gentlemen, you need to appreciate one fact. There is a difference between investing and trading. Right? So when you're talking Bitcoin and Forex, they are mainly on the trading side. They are 70% trading platforms. Right? However, having said that, you could still use them as an investment. Right? Like I do with Forex. I've been tracking the rand since 2016. Right? So as Zuma goes, Tito comes, and the politicians create the hoo-ha. As Forex traders, sorry to say this, when there's chaos in the country, we smile, right? Because that creates volatility and turbulence, and that's where we buy. Because how do you make money when the rand remains at 14 rands for 40 years? There won't be no change. So there's got to be a change. At least if it comes to 13, and I predict to say, oops, if the public protector does it right, the rand will go to 15, then I buy at 13. Let the public protector do what she has to do. Or let Trump mess up America the other side, the rand strengthens, then I sell at that point. So that's trading. But at the same time, if you hold a long-term view, you could hijack a trading platform to become an investment platform. But now investments, we're looking in terms of things like collective investments, unit trusts, your endowments, and so forth, right? So I think, now as to whether is Bitcoin or Forex, which one is better? I did a study of Bitcoin way back to understand the technical workings of Bitcoin. And at that stage, my decision was to say, look, the time is not ripe for me to take this risk because I felt Forex was a better risk. Believe me, Forex trading is the riskiest of trading. You don't just Forex trade any day. You need to study, right? Because I studied for about 6 months on everything to do with Forex. And by the time I started trading, I was able to make profit, right? So those are some of the things you need to consider. I don't know if I've addressed your question adequately, sir. Currently. Now, property for me is still what, if you were to wake me up now to say, wake up, advise me, I would say property any day, right? Now, as an investment platform, I would say property, right? Any other thing really, we will have to engage, evaluate. We've got to really have a deep dialogue and conversation before I could advise on anything else. But property would be again, with property, you need to pick the right location. Estate agents will tell you location, location, and location, and location plus location. Meaning location is important. If you're going to buy a sunny side, forget it. You're not going to make your return on investment. Not when there are drugs and prostitution. Forget it. But if you're to come to Centurion and buy property, there we're talking. Right? Now, I have a will at Mozambique. Should I draft another will in South Africa? That's a good question. The thing is, what you need to understand is that the laws of the two countries are different. Having said that, there could be similarities. So, you need to understand, first and foremost, to say, are you married? Were you married in Mozambique? Because if you die in South Africa and I need to administer your estate, I need to know on what basis are you married, South African law or foreign law? You've got more than one wife, 2 wives, so all those considerations will determine as to how do I deal with your estate. But most importantly, if you've got a will, right, it is important to say whatever will you draft, if you're from Mozambique, if I were to help you draft that will, and you are also staying in South Africa, I would want to harmonize and synchronize the laws of the two countries such that you have one will that could be applicable in both South Africa and Mozambique. Now, the other question was, there's a property, I'm staying with my brothers and sisters. Did you say you're married? And you don't want that to go, in case you die, your wife to take the 50 or take the entire property? The question is, who is the owner of that property? Yes. Yes. Okay, there are two things that you need to take into cognizance. If you are a joint owner and your parents' will did not say the following: we bequeath this property to our children, and that bequest will not be affected by marital effect, right? If they didn't say that in their will, your portion becomes part of your joint estate with your wife. Meaning that if you own 25%, that 25% is going to come into the joint estate, right? However, if your parents excluded that benefit to you and your brothers and sisters from it being affected by future marriages, you don't have to worry. It's what we call an exclusion. We're going to exclude it from the calculation. Are we together? Right. However, if you die with enough assets, because it does not mean that that property will be sold. It's all about the solvency of your estate. If you've got enough, it might be, yes, 25% is supposed to come here, right? But your siblings could say, fine, instead of you selling our property, here is 25% in monetary value. If that property is worth $1 million now and your 25% is 250, it will be up to your siblings to say, fine, we'll just give you 250 and we take over his portion on this property. Are you happy with that one? Now, letter of authority. Now, the master is a funny creature. Let me disclose this to you, but don't they get me killed for this. We recently had filed a death notice, reported the death to the master's office. We did that in January. We only got letters of authority just last week. Why? They had promised us at most 20 working days. Why did it take 100 times more days than it was supposed to be? All I can tell you to say, the file got lost. I saw a lot of incompetence in that office. And I saw people requesting favors to say, we will do it for you, but where is our lunch? And I took exception, right? It's a matter that I'm still going to deal with, because for me, it's really our country. We need a fix, right? That's all I can say to say. It takes long. However, to avoid the file getting lost and so forth, it's best when you report the death to the master, report it with all documentation required. Don't give them an excuse to request for further requirements, because that's when it gets crazy. Where those people who want to make money, they'll deliberately delay it until you go to them and they say, help us. As a matter of fact, when I personally got involved with tracing those letters, I met a gentleman who for 3 years, remember 3 years, he's been struggling to get those letters. Because he's been thrown pillar to post, the file, it always gets lost. It gets missing all the time, right? So ideally, it should take not more than a month in principle. But however, be aware of those pitfalls and issues that happen. And I'm not saying that that would be the case with every estate, right? I'm not saying that. There could be a case whereby some people will get it within the 1 month. But from what I've seen with this one case, that's when I realized that there is a problem. And then also, I'm not saying it's everyone who is corrupt, because I only had experience with 2 people Right. So I would not know the rest, but for me, the question that I had to ask myself to say, it's a top-down issue. If there's no management that is proper here, people will do as they please. Because if there's leadership and discipline, performance management, no one will risk and ask for a bribe from you for doing their work. I have a trust, but I die without a will. What happens to my trust? Because a trust is a separate legal entity. That's correct. The trust will continue its existence. However, that trust, of course, it should have a trust deed. It should have its start of life and end of life. And I'm sure that trust has a purpose. Right? But now, talking of a trust, there are two types of trusts. There's what we call a testamentary trust and what we call an inter vivos trust. An inter vivos trust, you create it when you're still alive. To say, whatever assets I buy them in the name of the trust. Houses, bank accounts into the name of the trust. You put as much assets as you want into that trust, right? And you come with the deed that says, these are the beneficiaries to my trust, this is how they'll benefit, right? So if you die, the trust will just take over. So you could literally put all your assets there such that the executor will have little to deal with. However, like I always caution, because I'm more of a pragmatic or a practical person, I'm saying don't be obsessed with dying. Enjoy life, because to transfer property into a trust, it's costly, right? So rather, if you want a trust, because a trust has its good purpose, if you die with or without a will, and you don't indicate as to how the executor should deal with your minor children, if you don't do that, guess what? The master's office will be smiling, because they'll say, all the cash that is payable to the minors, bring it to the guardian fund. So that money is going to be controlled by the state through the guardian fund. So it's definitely important to say, in your will, we can incorporate a trust clause where we say, should any of my beneficiaries be a minor, if they die, I appoint so and so to be the trustee, to be able to mind my minors, right? Under a trust. Then in that case, that money won't be paid to the guardian fund. They'll kiss it goodbye because it will go to your trustees. Alternatively, last point, you could appoint what you call a legal guardian. In your will, you could say, I've got so and so as a minor, pay whatever funds due to the minor over to the guardian to then care for my minor beneficiary. Now, where to invest for a good return? It's another good question. Now, 5 years back, I did an analysis, a financial analysis, where I checked as to whether, because as a financial planner, all we know is to say shares, when you buy shares in companies, right? We know there's volatility, right? But it's a volatility that goes this way. Look at my hand. You see? It keeps going up and down, but when you draw a line, it projects that way. So it's all a case of at what point do you buy a share. That's why you get companies that like Allen Gray, I'm not promoting them, but I like their strategy, who will then buy low and sell high because they are aware of the volatility involved, right? So shares, believe you me, irrespective of how much they drop or rise, you could get a share that can rise to even 40%. But don't jump into that share tomorrow and say, oops, I heard from Steve that he made 40% return on investment, and you want to jump into it. You find that your timing is wrong because he's already at the peak. And when you buy at the peak, the following day it drops. then you go back to Steve and say, you want to kill Steve. No, it's not Steve's problem. It's your problem because you don't understand the principles of investment. You need to educate yourself in relation to how it works, right? So, there was a time where I bought shares. It was a concept of gold bullions. Gold bullions were hot in those days. I'm talking just before the 2008 recession. I made 90% return on investment. But from 2008, fortunately I cashed out before the downslide. All my other investments, they were at minus 40, minus 50. The question is, do you jump out once it gets to that point? The answer is no, you don't jump out. You wait for it to recover, because most of them recovered back and I sold at 10%, right? Now, I think I've addressed all the, there's one last, can I address the last question?
What can be done to re-educate us?
All right, as far as education is concerned, right, it's a matter of really having to understand, first and foremost, your lifestyle, right? To understand your psychology. Don't be influenced by friends, girlfriends. There is this girl that you want to win's heart, and you go and buy the most expensive car, right? Or do all sorts of other funny things. You need to be disciplined and be honest with yourself. Not to live beyond your means, because saving in economics, it's either if you don't spend, you save, right? So if you reduce your spending, there'll be saving, and when you save, you can invest, right? But at the same time, you can only spend and save provided there's income. If you are unemployed, there's nothing to spend and there's nothing to save. So the idea is to say, first and foremost, seek to really improve yourself financially. Get a better job, a better education, better opportunities. Be active in that regard. Because there comes a point whereby you can only address your day-to-day need, food and clothing and home, and nothing more, right? In that case, no one can blame you to say, why are you not saving? Because there's nothing to save. Because you only save the surplus that remains after you have spent and you have addressed all your need. Have I covered all the questions?
I think you have. I want to ask you one question. Are you then saying that the will is very critical to have a will?
Yes.
Okay. And it sounds like most of these things we need to educate ourselves and all that. Are you available and open for consultation?
Yes, I am.
Is that what you do?
Yes.
Okay. So we can have your information given to us so that we can announce how to get hold of your...
So basically, if you need accounting services, financial planning, business management, consulting, business planning, anything to do with money, we will assist you. Business, accounting, tax, what else? Wills. Well, I can't promote myself legally, also legal stuff. Yeah. So, but yeah, all those things we cover. If you think of money and life, we can assist you with anything and everything.
Question out of all of this. I was told this morning you had to go and do an operation. You had to go on and operate.
Yes, we had a few things to attend to this morning.
One of them is operating.
Yeah.
So you are a medical doctor.
Yes.
And you are an estate planner.
Yes.
So you do all these things, and you are a lawyer.
Yes.
and how old are you?
How old do you think I am, people? Can I get a guess? How old do you think I am?
I would put you at 50.
Who is saying 40? Who is saying below 40? I'll go with below 40 for now. No, I'll be turning 50 this December.
I think so. In 50 years, in 50 years, you've done all of this. The lawyer, the medical doctor.
Yes.
Wow. 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 You are amazing and an inspiration indeed. All right. So,
Okay.
Yeah, on behalf of the church, Dr. Ngoveni, I would like to say thank you so much for pouring into us. We have learned a lot in terms of the financial planning, estate planning as well. Thank you so much. We have a token of appreciation that I want to give it to you. Thank you so much for coming.
Okay, thanks.
We also have a T-shirt that I would like you just to sign for our launch, which will definitely appreciate your signature.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ngoveni. Let's appreciate God for his life. All right. All right. We're going to lunch, and then two more speakers. One is going to talk on men's health. We have a doctor joining us, another doctor joining us, who's talking on health issues. And then we have Umfundisi Thomas Khatebe to close us off and send us off. We didn't want to stay this long before lunch. And before we go to lunch, now you know it costs a lot to organize something like this, right? Right? Matotan second. It does cost a lot, and I want to be grateful and thankful to all our speakers because a whole lot of them were gracious. They did not charge us their corporate charges and whatnot. So corporate rates. So, but it still takes a lot. And as the men of WPCCI in this church, the first 100 men, let me not say the first, 100 men registered and gave out something for us to be able to kickstart the budget. But as I'm standing before you right now, our budget is sitting at a deficit of 10,000. Every man say 10,000. Now say these words, say 10,000